Today, the Mercury Marine destination takes us up to Cree Lake in northern Saskatchewan. An old saying goes, not all lures are created equal. The same goes for fishing locations. Cree Lake Lodge is home to several of the largest pike Charlie has ever caught, and the more you fish an area, the more you learn it, even with remote fly-ins. Be prepared when that fish you've been dreaming of shows up. Lines need to be checked regularly, strong tooth-resistant leaders that are fish-friendly, and hooks that are ready when that fish of a lifetime gives you a chance. Old Reliable for Pike, this week on Fishful Thinking. Fishful Thinking is brought to you by Mercury Marine. Princecraft boats dominate the waters. Daiwa rods and reels, and Ram trucks built to serve. Water conditions are brought to you by Humminbird Fish Finders. Get the big picture. Big waters can blow up fast, but you can be more comfortable. Smooth out your ride with Smooth Move's shock-absorbing seat suspensions.
Oh, the never fail Freedom heads. They just have that independent wobble that lets the shad do this and the head's doing that. And I can change the hooks when needed. Nice fish. Wow. That just ate it at the bow side. There you go, buddy.
Oh,
There you go.
wasn't the most graceful landing.
No. No. I just made sure I backed off the line so the line didn't turn the head so he swam out, right?
Yeah.
Thank you.
Absolutely. Well, he held the plastic.
Oh, well, that's, yeah, you don't want to leave that in there. Beautiful fish. Ah, very nice.
Pike again.
Very nice.
All right.
Cool. Thank you, sir.
Get her back in the water.
Just let the fish decide what they want today. So far, they're loving this. Perfect. Because it has an interchangeable hook on it, the hook has independent action to it. The head I've got on a little connection here, so the head's wobbling and doing its own thing, and it's independent of the hook. So the hook with the shad is doing this, the head's doing that, and it just gives it a more realistic look. And like I said, since that hook is not embedded into a lead head, it just gives it all kinds of freedom when you rig a plastic like this. Now, that one's probably chewed up a little bit, but what I do to get more out of a plastic, I'll start rigging them sideways. And it has great action that way as well. Turn it sideways, and you actually have less plastic to have to worry about to get that hook through when you do it that way too. That one's kind of ripped up. Maybe I'll have to use a new one. But make nice long casts. The clearer the water is, make long casts. Daiwa Tatula 300. It's got the T-wing system that actually opens up and then shuts back down again. This is Seaguar Tactics line. You can see the color of that line. It's actually a camouflage color. It's got a light, I won't call it a rough texture. It's kind of pebbled. Not so much I need it in here, but that little texture to it, if you're fishing in a lot of vegetation, it'll actually rip and cut through it so much better than a soft line. But as you can see, it still casts like a bomb. There's no noise. It's not like it's a noisy line. It's just that little, they call it a pebble texture to it, and it'll just saw through vegetation for you. Wow, next cast, love it. There's a nice fish. A little beat up, that one, but it's spawning season. Always play around. Don't always assume you can get a spoon bite going in the morning, or it's going to be on plastics, or it's going to be on twitch baits. Let the fish tell you. It's always good to have a starting point, but at the end of the day, switch quick and let the fish tell you what they want. They love that wobble of a spoon some days, and some days they don't want that erratic action of a spoon. They want to eat something that's not doing anything and swimming straight. And let me turn you. Nice.
Another
Thank you, sir.
Fish.
He's ready to go. If you just want to dip the net and let him swim out, I'm good with that too.
Alrighty.
See, he looks like a troublemaker.
It doesn't even want to leave the net now.
No. There you go. No worse for wear. Thank you, sweetheart.
Closed captioning is brought to you by Mercury. Power and dependability you can count on.
I have a load of storage, and I know where everything is because I have a system and everything has a place. I have a huge amount of storage in the front casting deck of my boat, a massive amount of room under the consoles, storage areas down both sides of the boat, and even big rod lockers. And talk about handy storage. I love my ram boxes. They're watertight and keep everything dry. They lock, they have lights, and with a drain hole at the bottom, I can wash them out completely when needed after getting them dirty. They're so perfect for items I use all the time, and I know where everything is. I've watched folks take far too long trying to find their boat ropes, their tackle, even their keys. Have a system in place with your storage. It's definitely going to help.
Conditions today are brought to you by Revo Sunglasses, technology that performs.
Oh, you did look decent, and you're doing what that big fish the other day did, just headed out to the depths. All I saw was big wide head shakes in there.
Yeah, look good.
These Freedom heads, it doesn't matter. It works with so many different styles of plastics. I love swim baits. Just make sure you got a nice paddle tail on it because it really makes the head shake. It shakes. Beautiful fish. And make sure you use a good rod that you can get that hook through the plastic. Look at this. Oh, back under you go. And up we come. See if I bring you back. There you are. Come on, the net's over here. There we go.
No.
Good job.
As far as I could reach, I didn't have lifting power.
I kind of held him back a little bit. There you go. You can behave yourself more than the other one did.
Great fish.
Maybe. There we go. Oh, heavy, heavy fish. Look at the back on this thing. Woo! Look at the back. That is just thick. Sometimes they don't look as long because they're so fat.
Yeah.
Gorgeous, gorgeous pike. There, buddy. Grab your tail. And away you go. Right under the boat. That is fun. Always check that hook. I like keeping my hook so sharp, and you got to get it past that gristle in the teeth. On pike, sometimes it'll just bounce off them. It's got a grip. And let's see, do I have my file out? I'll show you exactly what I'm doing here. Let me grab my file, just so I can show you how, because that point's actually bent up. Wow, like I said, this is exactly what I meant. You hit bone when you set that hook, and if you don't check your hook, my point of my hook's actually bent up like that. So I gotta flatten that back out, take that burr right off of it. There, and I triangulate it. So my routine with sharpening a hook is always the burr from underneath, and then I go a couple from the top, a couple from this side, a couple from that side, and just touch it. I like touching it to my skin, because if it grips and picks, it's going to grip and pick and hold in that fish's mouth enough for you to penetrate. If it doesn't stick, it's just going to slide off and you're going to miss a lot of hook sets. So make sure that is just, and that's what I refer to as sticky sharp. Even on a wet hand, it's got to grip somewhere. If it doesn't, it just skids right out. You know, even trying to sharpen that hook, I'm not happy with that hook. I've lost my point. I can't get the hook point I want back out of that. So this is the other thing with these Freedom jig heads that I absolutely love. I don't want to have to take this whole thing off and retie my whole leader. If I need to replace a damaged hook, I go twist, twist, off, and I pop another hook on, and it's quick and simple. And it just twists, twists. There's a couple of pinch points. There, back on. Sticky sharp. I couldn't get a point that I wanted comfortable back on that. And when you're in a place like this, that next fish could be the fish you're looking for, and I'm not taking any chances. When you need to penetrate that bony gristle mouth of a big pike or any trophy fish, sticky, sharp hook will save you everything. I don't care if you're trolling for lake trout. I don't care if you're muskie fishing. You got to have a sticky, sharp hook. Sometimes a fish will grab something so light you almost can't even feel them. And if it just grips for a second, that fish can't shake it, and it gives you a chance to really set the hook further in. I've seen so many fish spit a hook out because it's not sharp. Let's see, make sure your swim bait is running straight. I always measure, hook, and back in business. But that's the greatest thing with these Freedom heads. Bad hook, good hook on, I'm back in business. There you are, buddy. Nice thick, another thick one. Jeez, they're just hefty fish. Just hefty. Yeah, nice. A little better than I originally thought.
Yeah.
Thank you. Check your leader, check your connection, check your hook, get it back in place. And nobody ever remembers to check their line here. You're constantly casting, snapping it off that tip, snapping it off that tip. Always check for abrasion here. Everyone checks the leaders, but nobody checks this. And every night after a good day fishing, I always retire about a foot of that, because this is what gets all the wear every time you reel up to there and snap. That's the portion that always gets it. And if you go 3-4 days fishing all day long and never retie that, all of a sudden, zoom, it's gone, and you wonder what broke you off. Just check everything. Oh my gosh, these Freedom heads just are my go-to everything for big fish. It just gives any plastic paddle tail you put on the back of it extra action. It makes it so lifelike when the Freedom head's doing this independently, because that hook is not pinned to the lead head. Just make sure you got a paddle tail that really makes everything work. You can go too small and it doesn't work. You can go too big and it doesn't work. You got to balance your tackle. All right, here you go. Look at this. Look at this guy. Look at that. Now let's just swim right into the net. That guy's so old, he's almost got a blue tinge to his back. go. You know, it doesn't look that long because it's so fat. Fun, fun, fun. There you go, buddy. Here. You look like you've had a fun spawn. There we go. No worse for wear. You can see this Freedom head. Let me get my Viking cut resistant gloves off. They're not puncture proof, but if you get a tooth that slashes you, it'll stop it from doing a lot of damage to you, so I love them. Yeah, look at the head on this. Paint's getting knocked off of it. Sometimes I think it keeps working better. I've got a little attachment here. 130 pound test Seaguar fluorocarbon. I love the 130. It's invisible in the water. You can grab it with your hands and handle the fish at the side of the boat. If the fish wrap in it and it gets under the gill plate and into the gills, it's thick enough it doesn't hurt the fish like a thin wire leader would. It's a win-win all the way around. But these Freedom heads and a nice big hook on the back of it has just been my go-to year after year up here. Great combination. Okay. Oh, I don't know, Henry. I like the way they just come out and stay down.
Yeah. Keeps it as a surprise that way.
It's a good fish.
Real good fish.
That's a real good fish is right. Yeah, up he comes. And
Not quite.
not quite, no. Good thing about a single hook too, it doesn't really hang up in the net too bad, does it?
No.
Trebles,
Great for that.
you got a lure with sets of trebles on it. You don't want it anywhere near a net.
Nope.
And one more. Good job. There's a fish. There's a good one. Dandy, 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 dandy. All right, troublemaker. Back you go. What, now you're not full of energy? There you go. That one ate it right at my feet. So where you came from, you weren't following it, it just came up. There we are. Nice fish. Oh yeah.
Beautiful fish.
Oh yeah. There you go. Wow. I didn't think it was that long because it's so thick.
Yeah. Great fish.
Wow, nice is right. There we go. There's a chunky fish. Look at the belly on that thing. Wow. That is awesome. Look at the girth on that thing. Okay, sweetie, back you go. Let me grab your tail. Oh. All right, didn't even have a chance to put the underwater camera on you. All right, you're gone. Nice one.
Gorgeous fish.
Again, on the Freedom jig heads. Beautiful. Just don't get cheap. Anytime you start getting some tears in your plastics, when you start getting cuts like that in your plastic, you could easily have just put that back on, thread it in place, stuck the hook back into it. It just doesn't wiggle the same. As soon as you get cuts, it makes it roll a little bit and it's not swimming naturally. If it's not swimming straight and naturally, it comes off.
Fishful Thinking is brought to you by Mercury Marine. Princecraft boats dominate the waters. Seaguar Tactics braided lines. And Ram trucks built to serve. Tackled today Daiwa Tatula 300 with the T-Wing system. 40-pound test Seaguar Tactics 4-strand camo braided lines. Daiwa Rebellion rods with high-volume fiber graphite technology. Viking cut-resistant NBR palm-coated gloves. Freedom Hydra jig heads with swing hook action. Viking 100% waterproof jackets, pants, and bibs. 130-pound test Seaguar Abrasics Muskie and Pike leader. 100% protection from UV, A, B, and C with Revo sunglasses. Comfort Light Boots by Viking. And the Mercury 60 horsepower 4-stroke outboard motor. Family owned and operated Cree Lake Lodge, a home away from home in northern Saskatchewan, specializing in trophy lake trout and pike on remote waters.
And boat control does you no good if you don't know what you're holding yourself on. Go to the extra trouble of bringing yourself a set of eyes like this little Humminbird portable. Fun little fish.